Hi everyone, my name is Father Sam Kachuba and welcome to Faith Friday. One of the questions that I often get is, Father, how do you come up with a homily? The answer to that question is going to vary from priest to priest, but I'll give you a little insight into what I do in order to prepare a homily especially for a Sunday Mass. Number one, I make sure I read the readings. Got to know what the gospel is, because the homily is meant to be an explanation of the gospel. It's meant to be about what the gospel is about. So number one, you need to know the readings. You need to make sure that you've gone through them, you've reviewed them, and even studied them. And so that might mean not only spending a lot of time reading the readings, but it might mean also going in and looking at some commentaries, looking at some historical study, doing a little bit of theological homework so that you can make sure that you've got everything that you need. Number two, you got to pray. You got to pray every single day. And it helps to pray with the scriptures each day. So not just reading them and knowing what they are, but to pray with them so that the reading that you've done can become more fruitful. And this is a good practice for anybody to do. It's called Lectio Divina. Take some scripture, spend some time reading it, and then pray with what you've just read. Read it in the context of prayer. Read it, especially if you can, in the church or in the chapel, someplace in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. And spend that time really reading and getting to know the Lord who speaks to us through his holy word, through the scriptures. And then along with that prayer, you need to be informed if you're going to come up with a good homily. You need to be informed not only by your prayer, not only by the scriptures, not only by what the church teaches, not only by what our tradition is, but also by what's going on right now. You need to know the context in which you are preaching. So if I need to give a good homily and I don't know what's going on in my community, or if I don't know what's going on in the world, or I'm unaware of the needs, the particular needs that might be facing my parish or whatever audience it is that I'm preaching to, then I've got to really make sure that I spend some time getting to know them. I've got to spend some time understanding the context. So there are certain things that you could say, for example, at a youth retreat that I would never say at a normal Sunday Mass, because the audience is different. There are certain things that I might say if I've got a whole lot of children present that I wouldn't say if I was preaching mostly to a convent full of nuns, for example. So you need to know who it is that you're preaching to. So we come up with our homily ideas, and some priests like to write them out, some priests like to not use notes. What I try to do is spend time each day, starting on Monday, praying with the scriptures, studying them, trying to get to know them a little bit better. And then once I've done that, try to work through the homily. And I try preaching to myself sometimes. So I'll get in the car and I'll be driving along and I'll be giving my homily as I'm driving along, kind of practicing on myself to see if I like how something sounds. There are other days where, to be perfectly honest with you, the homily doesn't happen for me until I'm walking to the ambo to proclaim the gospel. It can vary from week to week. But the good news is the Lord takes care of us. The Lord speaks to us in the scriptures, even if my homily isn't very good. The Lord speaks even if I mess up, or even if I don't feel particularly confident. And in fact, I can tell you from my experience, the homilies that I think are the worst homilies are the ones that people come to me and tell me were the most impactful. And the homilies that I think were the best and that I feel like I put all the effort in and I did a great job, those are the ones that nobody says a word to me about and kind of get overlooked completely. I think it's the mystery of how the Lord works. I encourage you, though, to take on the practice of Lectio Divina. I encourage you to open up the scriptures even before you get to Sunday Mass and study them, get to know them, because the homily will be more fruitful for you the more you yourself have been enriched by God's holy word that comes to us in the Bible. God bless you.